Smoke rising from a clash between security forces and protesters in Islamabad, Pakistan, on Saturday. On Monday, Pakistan's government said the law minister would step down in return for an end to the demonstrations. Sohail, ShahzadEuropean Pressphoto agency, Islamabad, Pakistan. Pakistan's government struck a deal on Monday with leaders of a fundamentalist Islamist protest movement, saying that the country's law minister would step down in return for an end to demonstrations that had brought violent clashes and paralyzed the Pakistani capital for weeks. The embattled law minister, Zahid Hamid, whom protesters had accused of blasphemy, was set to resign as part of negotiations overseen by Pakistan's military, officials said. Public anger over the protests' disruption of Islamabad had been growing by the day, and the agreement was widely seen as another in a string of capitulations by the government to religious extremists who command growing popularity in Pakistan. A sad day when the state surrendered to the extremists. Now there is no stopping of those bigots, Zahid Hussain Ahid Hussain, November 27, 2017. Just a few days before, a judicial panel ordered the release of the Islamist militant leader Hafiz Saeed from house arrest. Though Mr. Saeed stands accused in the deadly Mumbai terror attacks in 2008 and is wanted internationally as a terrorist leader and financier, he also enjoys huge popularity in Pakistan, and was seen as very likely to publicly take up leadership of a political party started by his inner circle. Qadim Hussain Rizvi, Center, the cleric leading a hardline religious party belonging to the Barelvi sect of Islam. He had rallied thousands of supporters in Islamabad, disrupting traffic for more than 2 weeks. Amir Qureshi Agents France Press, Getty Images. The agreement on Monday was hashed out after violent clashes between the protesters, from a hardline religious party belonging to the Barelvi sect of Islam, and police officers. The party's leader, the cleric Qadim Hussain Rizvi, had rallied thousands of supporters near one of the main entrances to Islamabad, disrupting traffic for more than 2 weeks. An attempt by the governing party, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, to clear out the protests earlier on Saturday ended in deadly clashes, with at least 6 protesters killed and more than 200 people injured. The government was forced to suspend the operation, but violence quickly spilled over to other parts of the country, especially in Punjab province, the most important political base for the governing party. The law minister's house there was attacked, and several other party figures also came under pressure. On Sunday, Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi met with Gen. Qamar Javed Bajwa, Pakistan's army chief, to discuss the crises. The army chief said his troops would not use force to stop the protests, but agreed to safeguard important buildings around the capital, military officials said. The Barelvi party's protests started over proposed changes to the oath taken by incoming lawmakers, including altering the language that declared the Prophet Muhammad as God's final prophet. Supporters listening to Mr. Rizvi in Islamabad on Monday. Amir Qureshi Agents France Press, Getty Images. Mr. Rizvi and other hardline clerics said the changes, under the supervision of Mr. Hamid, the law minister, resulted in blasphemy, which is listed under the country's laws as a capital offense. Even isolated occasions of blasphemy have led to lynchings or mob violence, and Mr. Rizvi has frequently used the issue to whip up outrage at sermons and party rallies. The law minister denied the charge, releasing a video in which he stated that he personally believed that Muhammad was God's final prophet, and the government quickly dropped the proposed changes to the oath. But the efforts to placate Mr. Rizvi and several other religious leaders failed, and demonstrations began 3 weeks ago. The agreement signed in the early hours of Monday called for an immediate removal of the law minister. In turn, religious leaders assured that they would not issue an edict against him, apparently to ensure that the minister did not come under further attacks. Blasphemy accusations have often led to killings of the accused. The agreement called for the release of all workers and supporters of Mr. Rizvi's party, apart from asking the government to pay for the damages to public property. One particularly telling part of the agreement was a note of gratitude to General Bajwa, the army chief, who was thanked for saving the country from a big catastrophe. In some circles, the military has been criticized as being too tolerant, or even supportive, of extreme Islamist groups, not seeing nearly enough blame for the Pakistan army over its role in Islamabad Dharna. They backed these guys, they wanted to maim them, and they refused to act against them. With protectors like these, who needs aggressors? 12, Zeb Aslam at Zeb Islam, November 27, 2017. Maj. Gen. Faiz Hamid, the Director General of Counterintelligence Wing of the Inter-Services Intelligence Directorate, the country's powerful spy agency, signed the agreement as representative of the Army Chief.